Greetings, subscribers, haters, trolls, and tropers. I'm Mario Bonner, and welcome back to Let's Play Arcangle. In this stage, this time around, we're moving on to Stage 2, Lucre. Avarai City is run by a Defiance Climb Lord. We need to track him down and delete him. So basically we need to shoot him in the face. This we need to be careful because this city is full of criminals. This is exactly like Miami. Well, or something. I don't really know. But basically it's too quiet, just like every single place usually is. Just before the enemies show up. It's always quiet until the enemies show up. These bandits actually can steal your credits if they get too close to you. They can take your money. Fortunately, they also drop a lot of money because they're robbers and as a result they're filthy rich. They aren't too overly strong, but with a lot of them they can pretty much fill the whole screen with bullets. Now there's these snipers which have been bounty hunters trying to get you. You better look out for those crosshairs and missiles they shoot at you. Their platforms are independent of them though. Better watch out when they send both the bandits and the snipers at you at the same time. You gotta do some pretty skilled dodging to avoid the crosshairs and those massive laser bullets. Bandits can also shoot up those little square beam things. Those things will latch onto you and drain your credits as well. There's two snipers, nothing too terrible as long as you spam the thing back and forth. Now the birds! The birds are enemies too. They're raw birds, and they will actually steal your money as well, which is a pain. They steal your money by contact, but you know the bandits can steal with their laser beams as well. This stage is pretty much where the game gets quite a bit harder, with much stronger enemies, much more bullets, much more dickish moves, and harder boss fights. Now these raiders are pretty big mooks, considering they fire huge streams of bullets and then they flash you to cut you in half. So it takes some pretty tricky maneuvers to get out of their way in time. You also gotta be very careful to avoid their large spreads of yellow bullets, which are pretty much the bane of your existence at this point, because you can't deflect them, or you can't catch them, whatever you want to say. You can't stop them, so you just need to avoid the yellow ones. And if there's two of them at once, you've also got to pay attention to, them cutting you in half. Now the police force is trying to kill you with these little planes from the background, because apparently they've been paid off by the evil Defiance. The Defiance's goals are never really explained. They're just being evil for the sake of being evil, as far as I can tell. It's sort of weird. These police cars are pretty big mooks, but they're actually pretty easy to defeat as long as you, look out for the crosshairs of the donut guns that start firing at you. And these little spinny things are quite easy to dodge. They are quite easy to dodge, despite the fact I just died to them. The real challenge the police have is when they cover the entire screen with their donut guns. You want to stay down that corner to dodge that attack. So you can lead the bombs by staying one side of the screen and then gradually moving out of the way. You can pretty easily counter pretty much all the donut guns and send it back to them. There's more planes, but there's no big deal. You just need to move in a circle and track behind you with their crosshairs like you learned at the tutorial level. You can destroy them pretty easily and pretty efficiently. There's a couple more police cars at once. The real trouble here is trying to reflect all the bullets, considering that they fire at different angles and heights. Fortunately, I have a Smart Shot upgrade, which will, if you destroy an enemy, the bullets will actually retarget any other enemies on the screen, which is very helpful and nice. Okay, it's one of the ever slightly less useless upgrades. I recommend getting it, because you don't get very much money from the first stage, and it's pretty cheap. Well, level 1 is anyway. You can upgrade your levels multiple times. And we apparently have a very large bunny, or bounty on our heads, and now we have this headhunter, which is a giant golden floating armor gun. Fires some very annoying shots at you. You've got to lead them very carefully, and then he fires this huge spiral pattern. I really recommend using precision mode to dodge all this, because of those indestructible, yellow lasers. And then he repeats the pattern by moving to the other side of the screen, but he should be pretty close to being dead. So. The real trouble there are those orange squares, so they can box you in. Now we have 3 snipers, but nothing too much to worry about as long as we keep moving. It's just like any other game with snipers in them. Now there's another headhunter. Fortunately, you only fight these one at a time and with no other enemies. Because they are strong, they take a ton of hits, and their attacks are a friggin' pain. I don't feel like fighting this one, so I use a bomb on him, but that was sort of a bad time to do it. And I do disable all of his yellow shots for some reason. I don't get how that works, but, might have broken the game right there. Now it's time for our second boss fight, the Highwayman. It's essentially a train. A train that is armed to the teeth with friggin' laser beams. And these squares which shoot smaller squares, and yep, those gray squares actually will kill you if you touch the center of them. See how I grinded when I touched the middle? You want to get to the outside of that circle of lasers, or balls they shoot out. And we want to move to the side and destroy all these missiles pretty quickly. That yellow thing will take your credits, so be sure to avoid that. You also got to watch out for the bandits which shoot at you, and get to the top or the bottom of the screen for this attack. Actually, being at the top of the screen is sort of recommended, as long as you don't get instantly killed by one of the blue squares, but that ball attack is a pain. It's probably better to actually stay in the middle of it and then blow your way out with the angle. It's a very sequential boss. There's lots of things to destroy. It has lots of different attack patterns. When you stay down at the bottom of the screen, you can sort of out-lead that credit ray. It's pretty simple. Staying inside that circle and shooting your way out is the best option, actually, because most of the time you won't have time to get out. Now it contains this new attack pattern, which literally rains blue balls or blue squares down at you from yellow balls. You can stay at the top of the screen to dodge all of them. Now he's got these blue missiles, which you can pretty easily counter. This thing you gotta keep dodging as well. Then they fire this huge big explosion, which you've got to get out of the side and weave your way through pretty quickly, because another one is incoming. Quite rapidly as well. That's the real challenge, moving your way between all these fast enough without getting destroyed. You also need to dodge, these shots from the background. That's pretty simple. Once again, just staying at the top of the screen with his attack. This boss is pretty simple once you know its pattern, because it's got false definite pattern and has multiple attacks. But it is pretty much the first hard boss in the game, letting you know that the bosses aren't giving an absolute pushover after the pretty easy bosses in Stage 1. Here we gotta fight a ton of raw-birds, so I just bomb to take them all out. Because those things are annoying. They're nowhere near as annoying as these god-darn bats, the Psy bats, in this next portion. These Psy bats are a pain because they shoot a crap ton of bullets. It's probably a good idea to widen your angle here, because even though it's quite weak, they shoot a lot of weak shots, so you can counter those quite easily. They also charge up and fire that huge shot, which you've got to be careful for. There's really not much strategy up at this point other than stay on your toes and be alert. Oh yeah, and widen your angle. I probably should have widened my angle up to gray, or probably weakened it, but made it bigger. And now there's these mine cars which shoot shots. And speaking of which, they don't actually they look like they shoot out credits when they're destroyed, but the symbols are backwards. That isn't actually money. Those are bullets, yellow bullets to be exact, and you don't track them either. They kill you. I didn't actually know that in my first playthrough of the game, so I never got close enough to actually get hit by any of them. I just assumed they were harmless. Fire some pretty big spiral shots here. And up next, this section really confused the crud out of me. It turns out you've got to change your angle color, or else these crystal heroes will instantly fire their big lasers. They're also a big pain in general, but if you're using the wrong angle color, they'll instantly destroy it. These are probably the most annoying enemies in the game, partly because, I'm just going to use my most powerful angle color. No, you instantly get blown up. Or instantly get lasered, whatever. It wasn't very obvious to me until I looked up the game on TV tropes, and then I discovered I was doing it wrong. But whatever. It's time for the second Stage 2 boss, Room. A giant money spider literally made out of friggin' gold. This is one of the game songs I actually quite like. It's nice. It's funky. It shoots a crap ton of bullets at you, which are actually jewels, energy jewels, and it also has a pretty interesting trick where it turns all of its shots into fake money, which are yellow shots, which can't be destroyed, which means they're undodgeable, which makes this boss one of the harder ones in the game, actually, despite being only the second boss in the game. It also has multiple patterns, forms, a ton of health, all that good old stuff. It's got this laser that chases you around the room while it constantly sucks you in and shoots out other shots. Fortunately, you can bomb to take care of that. It keeps chasing you around the room. Ultimately, this boss is about memorizing patterns and also about dodging. Most of the time, precision isn't terribly useful because you've got to keep moving because it's sucking you in and also launching those spider webs at you. In its second form, it turns into like a tank sort of thing on two legs and shoots out even more bullets and tries to trap you with webs. But I think it still sucks you in. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I recorded this. And it literally fills the screen with bullets and lasers and missiles. Now it starts jumping around and shooting yellow shots when it hits the ground. Fortunately, it gets a crosshair to tell you where it's going to land. And now it launches a huge spiral pattern of things, which you can't all destroy, and it turns these yellow as well. It's just quite a ridiculous boss fight, considering how much stuff it shoots at you. Fortunately, it doesn't kill you when it's just standing on the ground like this. It only kills you when it's jumping around. And another bomb is down. You can actually skip this boss fight if you select I'm afraid of spiders in the options menu, but then again you won't get the money from defeating it, and that's terrible. So yeah, stage 2 boss. It's pretty challenging after everything you've just gone through, and basically gives you an idea that this game is actually going to be pretty challenging. No, I said challenging, not hard. It's not pull your hair out hard, but it does offer quite a good challenge. And a couple times, I actually did get a couple game overs in my first playthrough, and even one in this playthrough, because it's quite challenging. It's got a good game balance, but it's quite challenging. I finally have enough for energy charge, which will let me charge up my bomb meter without having to be close to bullets, which is incredibly useful. And I buy Smart Shot Upgrade too, to have upgraded homing ability, because why not? It would be nice to have. I don't really have enough money to buy anything else, so that's about it as far as upgrades go. The upgrades are more of just a little extra feature, except for energy charge and revenge. Well, this has been a nice video. I hope you enjoyed everything, and basically, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you all next time.